Do you want early access? Do you want uncut reactions? If so, then check out our Patreon. Link in the description down below. Some shows can get pretty dark. I remember when Ruby got dark at the end of season 3. I remembered exactly the message that Rooster Teeth sent out to the fandom. From here on out, Ruby will take a more serious tone, and it was at that point where my love for the show shifted a bit, and it's where I actually stopped caring as much. It was also the same episode where you lost.
I'll say it again for people in the comments that haven't heard me give my spiel to everybody on Discord over and over again, because I always have to explain it because people are like, are you going to watch Avatar? Or not Avatar, Ruby. But I think it's extremely disrespectful to Monty the way that they handled it, and I respect him too much because I was a fan of his animation and work before he made Ruby, to give that show the time of day after they did what they did. Not to mention Rooster Teeth in general has proven themselves to just be a trash company as of late.
Well, not only when you fire Caboose, but Bernie is so frustrated with the company that he quits. So you've lost Caboose and Church right there. And Matt has pretty much just fallen in as like CEO, and he's just like the silent CEO. And Jeff's just happy that he still has a job with Achievement Hunter, which I haven't seen him with Achievement Hunter. That's weird. It's almost like he's taken a more executive role instead of, a creator, which is weird for me. Companies can mess things up royally. Speaking of, Netflix can mess things up royally. Like when they were doing the live-action series of Avatar, and they brought in Michael Dante DiMartino and Brian Konietzko, and now the creators of the show have gotten so frustrated that they left. And they've said pretty much whatever Netflix comes up with is not our vision. And we're sorry to our fans, but we just couldn't stand working with it anymore. And that speaks volumes right there, guys. At least we have the original series. At least we have it. And here we have the series where one of my favorite episodes of the series, The Puppet Master. So, let's get this up on screen. Let's give it a watch. Here we go.
Suddenly they heard something down the hall in the dark. The blade of Wing Fun was haunted!
I think I liked the man with the sword for a hand better.
This is a true Southern Water Tribe story. One winter, when Mom was a girl, a snowstorm buried the whole village for weeks. Mom realized she hadn't seen her friend Nini since the storm. So Mom and some others went to check on Nini's family. When they got there, no one was home. When she was alone, she heard a voice.
It's so cold, and I can't get warm.
Mom turned and saw Nini standing by the fire. She was blue, like she was frozen. When everyone came back, Nini was gone.
Where'd she go?
No one knows. Nini's house stands empty to this day.
Pretty effective. Pretty effective story.
Wait, guys, did you hear that? I hear people under the mountain, and they're screaming. It just stopped. All right, now I'm getting scared.
Hello, children.
Hi, Chef.
Sorry to frighten you. Why don't you come back there for some spiced tea and warm beds? Yes, please. Why don't I show you to your rooms and you can get a good night's rest? I know, Momo. This place is creepy. I don't know if I'm going to be able to fall asleep.
Tomorrow's the full moon. Exactly. I can't lose another delivery boy in the woods.
This is a mysterious little town you have here. Mysterious town for mysterious children. I'll tell you what's in the box.
Ah!
An old comb? It's my greatest treasure. It's the last thing I owned from growing up in the Southern Water Tribe.
Oh, hello.
I'm sorry we were sneaking around.
Apology accepted.
You're a waterbender. I've never met another waterbender from our tribe.
That's because the Fire Nation wiped them all out. I was stolen from my home. It was over 60 years ago when the raid started. They came again and again, each time rounding up more of our waterbenders. We did our best to hold them off, but our
The ship
numbers
that was in the
dwindled
first
as the
episode.
raids continued. I too was captured. You have to learn to control water wherever it exists.
I've even used my own sweat for waterbending.
That's very resourceful, Katara. But did you know you can even pour water out of thin air? You've got to keep an open mind, Katara.
I don't see anything that would make a spirit mad around here. Maybe the moon spirit just turned mean.
The moon spirit is a gentle, loving lady. She will fly with...
Only one man ever saw it and lived, and that's Old Man Ding.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Shame about the lilies, though.
They're just flowers. Tonight I'll teach you the ultimate technique of waterbending. It can only be done during the full moon.
Old Man Ding?
Typical.
Damn it. What? And why does everyone call me that? I'm not that old.
Yeah, sure.
Can you feel the power the full moon brings? Allowing us to do incredible things.
Yipes.
I knew she was creepy.
This is the place.
We're saved! Hama! Yes, the innkeeper. I knew there was something creepy about her.
Blood bending. Controlling the water in another body. Enforcing your own will over theirs. Once I had mastered the rats, I was ready for the men. And during the next full moon, I walked free for the first time in decades.
But to reach inside someone and control them? I don't know if I want that kind of power.
It's your duty to use the gifts you've been given to win this war.
You're the one who's making people disappear during the full moons.
They threw me in prison to rot, along with my brothers and sisters.
I won't use bloodbending, and I won't allow you to keep terrorizing this town.
You should have learned the technique before you turned against me.
Stop, please.
Yue is gonna be like, you can't treat my boyfriend's sister like that.
You're not the only one who draws power from the moon. My bending is more powerful than yours, Hama.
Holy cow.
Pulling from the trees. Oh my gosh. Oh.
We know what you've been doing, Hama.
Give up! You're outnumbered!
You've outnumbered yourselves.
Oh man.
It's like my brain has a mind of its own. It arms.
There you go.
It's okay.
It's fine.
Don't hurt your friends, Katara. And don't let them hurt each other.
Uh-oh.
Ooh.
You're going to be locked away forever.
My work is done.
Damn.
Yikes.
That's pretty dark.
Like I said, it's probably the darkest episode of the series. Because, you know,
That was like some hardcore, like Return of the Jedi stuff.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. I mean, the thing is, the logical path of like the logical progression into like darker territories, if it's done right, it's amazing. This right here shows the dark side of bending. Like even though, because fire, it's so easy for fire to destroy. We look at water as something that creates life.
I mean, look up how many people drown in bathtubs every year.
I know. But the same thing with water is that water bending, there's no real way for it to like take something away from you, like in terms of your full control, until you discover blood bending. See, Nick, when you earlier on when you asked about the different types of how people could bend something that is that isn't necessarily how the material starts out, but how it is and how molecular structure works. And you actually said blood bending a long time ago. And when you said that, I was just
I didn't think about it being used in a way, like, I thought about it in an even darker sense, though. Because
someone could extract
somebody could just basically make your blood, like, explode out of your veins.
That's effectively, they did the PG version of that in this by, like, literally making the trees explode.
Yeah.
By creating a vacuum inside the trees of all the water that was being sucked out of it. It shows the darker side of things.
I mean, kudos to her. I'd have been too lazy. I just would have used my own pee to get out of prison.
Jesus, here we go again.
I'm just saying.
No, well, the thing is,
I don't want to work that hard.
Well, you could potentially. You potentially could. However, in all honesty, though, with how bloodbending is used, like even Katara, her using it was it showed the darker side of how a person can go.
That is actually a logical fallacy, though, with the show right there. There's a problem with them being like, oh, they had to keep all the water away from us. They had to bind our hands and feet when we would drink. It's like literally how they stopped them from using their own pee against them.
Well, the thing is...
Thank you, I'm a genius. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Well, again, it goes back to the whole thing, with, if Momo would have had a gun, the show would have been over in a season.
Their pee, their tears, their sweat, like...
Well, again, dude, whenever you're in that cage, like, you can make, like cuts and everything to try and get the bars open, but that's not going to unlock the cell. You see, a Fire Nation soldier, all he has to see is you using, the water you have at your disposal to do that. Next thing you know, fire blast, all the water's gone. But by using blood bending, that effectively makes it to where the Fire Nation soldier has no choice but to open the door. You're forcing the Fire Nation soldier to do it. And there's ways that you could work around it. For instance, again, they're going the PG route in this by not showing like someone exploding from all the blood leaving their body. Same thing with like pee and urine and all that. You can't get away with that in a kids show unless you can't show it. You can't show it. Like if they made like a PG-13 or an R-rated Avatar thing, yeah, definitely. That would be like a last-ditch effort kind of thing.
This has been Netflix's plan the whole time. They're going to steal my pee water bending.
Yes.
For their
I mean, at the very least, they could have gone with, like, tears or something,
Potentially. Well, the thing is, tears, that's one thing.
Sweat.
Whereas,
sweat. They did go with sweat.
Oh, yeah. Last episode, they used sweat. There's so many ways they could go with using water bending to go dark with it. I think this is about as dark as you can go in a PG show.
I think it was probably in poor taste to show them actually giving them that much water, because they probably should have just like had them severely dehydrated so they couldn't really move or produce, excess water for stuff like that.
Yeah.
In my thinking.
The whole thing is this challenges like ways of because for instance, the Earthbenders in the first season, they were on an iron, like a literal iron barge. And now knowing what we know about how metal is literally earth refined,
If somebody had a thought of it.
Oh, Toph would just walk out of that thing like in her own Gundam. And
Exactly,
like...
and Toph could potentially teach the other Earthbenders how to do it.
Yeah.
And thus, now, Earthbenders not only have Earth at their disposal, but steel. Could you imagine if you gave them, like, steel plates that they could literally bend into shields around their wrists and everything?
The riddle of steel.
Exactly. They would literally be Crom. They would literally turn into Crom and just be like...
And then she'd be like... Crom laughs at your four wins, and Aang would be all sad.
By the way, is everybody better be glad that Aang is like a peaceful person, because you could totally like airbend the air out of people's lungs.
Yes, he could.
Like just fucking straight up
murder.
You know,
murder a fool.
Suffocate people instantly, pretty much.
Absolutely. Well, this was. I love this episode. Like I said, this is one of my favorite episodes.
That was a spooky episode.
Even you could airbend like the air behind like someone's eyeballs to like pop their own eyes out of their heads.
Well, yeah. Well, there's little pockets of air in everyone's body that if you exploit,
you could probably burst someone's eardrums like if you wanted to.
You could just. Well, it's just like that one thing from Superman versus the Elite. He literally did like a microsurgery through a guy's eye and like cut out the thing that gave him his power.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure if you spin like air fast enough, that it will actually create like a pressure difference. So that like if you were to just rotate the air in like someone's inner ear really quickly, you probably like blow their eardrums.
Oh, easy. You could get the air that's trapped behind the ear, and the eardrum's not that tough. I mean, just a little puncture in it. Little punctures happen in our eardrums all the time with various things. But completely destroying the eardrum, that completely destroys the person's equilibrium.
I mean, Momo with a pointy stick just...
It's a non-lethal way to disable someone really quickly. Like,
it is.
While probably permanently damaging them at the same time. But
it is. Also, overfilling the person's lungs with air, and potentially like breaking all their ribs and everything. That could... Because they've shown like the human lungs can actually expand out very far, but imagine if it gets expanded out so far it literally causes your chest cavity to
a PG
erupt.
version of it could be like literally like forcing air into someone's stomach, so they just have to stand there and be like, like for like
it's like, Egg, this is not for. It's like, Egg, seriously, I am not having. And then at the end of it, it's just like, Sokka, are you gonna go on my plan?
Or give them the hiccups really bad, one or the other,
It's like, Aang, listen to my. Seriously, Aang, God.
Like, I would honestly love for her to escape and they like run into her again, like down the road.
Maybe they will.
There's not very many episodes left, though.
I mean, because really,
there's 12 episodes. I mean, who knows?
I mean, she's clearly cast in the role of the villain, but that's a pretty intensely interesting character.
Yeah.
With Hama, I mean, all she's been through. So I mean,
well, all right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna do it for this episode. This was season 3, episode 8, The Puppet Master. Yeah, pretty creepy episode. Probably the darkest episode of Avatar. So hopefully you all enjoyed, and hopefully we will see you all in the next one. So until then, I'm Nate.
Micah.
I am Nick.
We'll see you then, everybody. Peace out.